Bish. So today my topic of lecture is biotransformation. Okay. Today my topic of lecture is biotransformation. What is biotransformation? The biotransformation in this word, the biotransformation in this word, by the nomenclature, you can understand what is biotransformation. Bio means by the help, transformation means a reaction where you give a substrate and give you a product. Okay. And bio means with the help of biological entity or biological substance or biological organism. Okay. So here instead of chemical thing we add biological organism. Fine. Or biological entity, at least that is the entity obtained from biological cell. Okay. Now first thing, why people do biotransformation. Biotransformation is nothing but a chemical reaction, but the difference is that this chemical reaction, instead of doing through chemical routes, it is done by biological routes or using the biological entities. Why? There are several disadvantages, there are several advantages of using biotransformation. What are the advantages? First, if you go for yield, for in biotransformation, the yield is higher. In biotransformation, if you do the same reaction through chemical route, the yield will be low. But if you do through biotransformation, do through biological entity, the yield will be higher. Okay. Second, one of the very important aspect of doing biotransformation is stereoselective reaction. Doing stereoselective reaction or regioselective or regioselective. Okay. Doing stereoselective reaction or regioselective reaction. Okay. Now the thing is that what do you mean by stereoselective or regioselective reaction? Stereoselective reaction is nothing that if your product is either R configuration or S configuration, that means your product is not always active. Only maybe at R configuration may be active, or maybe in S configuration may be active. So that kind of product is called stereoselective product. So if in your reaction you convert your substrate to such kind of product that is active in only one kind of enantiomer or one kind of optical isomer, then it is called stereoselective reaction. Okay. And what is regioselective reaction? Regioselective reaction means which have regioselectivity. Regioselectivity means selectivity at a particular position. That means if your substrate has more than one functional group, say your substrate has, say here is one double bond O, then say here maybe one double bond NH2. Okay. So if your substrate has multiple functional groups, then maybe that you want the reaction occur at a specific functional group. That may be that you want the reaction to occur at a specific functional group, not other functional groups. And after the occurrence of the reaction, the product will be produced. What the product will be produced, say the C double bond is converted to COH. This product will have some kind of stereoselectivity. This product will have some kind of stereoselectivity. That means either will have some kind of restricted rotation, what we find in tris or trans configuration, or provide some kind of optical specificity like R or S or dextrolibo, something like that. Then this kind of reaction is called regioselective reaction. Regio means regional selectivity. That means out of the many functional groups, the reaction will occur at the particular functional group. So when you are doing this kind of regioselective reactions, if you use chemical catalyst usually it is very hard to make the chemical catalyst select at that particular position. It is very hard to make the chemical catalyst select at the particular position. Then it is very handy to use the biotransformation, because biological entities, that their selectivity is much higher than the chemical selectivity. Okay, then it can be amplified at any extent. That means if you want to amplify, that means if you want to scale up, the reaction, say now you are doing 2-liter batch reaction. Tomorrow, maybe the demand like that, you need to have 20-liter batch reaction, maybe that. So if you want to scale up this reaction through chemical means, then you need to design the entire reactor, their construction, everything you need to change, and that is very costly. The more solvent it will consume, it is again very costly. But that thing, if you use microorganism or bioorganism, you can amplify to any extent, because a microbial culture you can scale up to any extent. That means if you have today 2-liter media, the culture will be like that. If tomorrow you have 200-liter culture media, the microbiological growth will be in the 200-liter culture. So it can be amplified to any extent. Okay, this actually related with microbial growth kinetics. Okay, it's related with microbial growth kinetics. This is N, growth kinetics. Okay, then it is greener route. Greener means, green means generating no environmental pollution. If you perform a microbiological reaction, it usually no obnoxious chemicals, no toxic chemicals, no emission, no smoky emission, this kind of emissions takes place. So it is much more greener. If you do the same chemical reaction by chemical routes, maybe you need to use toxic chemicals, hazardous chemicals, which can generate secondary pollutants. So this is greener route. Okay. Number 5, it is easily renewable. It is easily renewable. That means once you design a biocatalyst, once you design a biological organism, once you have the biological organism, you can renew this for generation to generations. In chemical reaction, what you get, you cannot renew anything. Once the solvent is consumed or the substrate is consumed, you cannot renew. But here, the microbiological organism or the biocatalyst, you can renew it for generation to generation. How? You just do simple culture of that microbial organism and it will be renewed. So this is highly renewable. Okay. Since this can be amplified to any extent, scaled up to any extent as per your need, and this is renewable easily, so it gives you low operational cost. So it gives you low operational cost. Okay, low operational cost when large scale production is required. When large scale production is required. The more you go to large scale, the more you can see the cost benefit ratio favoring to you when you use the biocatalyst instead of the chemical catalyst. Okay, renewable. Then
green tag bar bolben.
Green means generating no secondary pollution. Green means generating no secondary pollution. If you add any toxic chemical, the toxic chemical will produce some byproducts, or it will produce some smoke, or it will produce some smell. Okay, that may be toxic, that may irritate your lungs, irritate your nose, that may go to your blood through your some other routes, or may be carcinogenic. But here in biocatalyst, what you need? You just need the culture media containing the microbes and you add the substrate. So in the culture media, there is no toxic chemical, because if you add toxic chemical, the cell will die. So no toxic chemical is there, so no toxic byproduct is there. So no secondary pollution is generated through this route. That's why it is called green. Okay. So it is renewable, so low operational cost. Okay. And the very big advantage is the stereoselective. That means, say you need S-ibuprofen. Say you need S-ibuprofen. Now S-ibuprofen means S-ibuprofen. That means no R part is required. No R part is required, because S-ibuprofen is only active. Ibuprofen, among the ibuprofen, S-ibuprofen is active, not R-ibuprofen. So if you need S means S. Now if you do chemically convert the ibuprofen to S-ibuprofen, if you want to synthesize ibuprofen by chemical route, what is studied in the anti-inflammatory section, there is no guarantee that S isomer will be produced. There is no guarantee. And if some S isomer is produced also, there will be R isomers produced in some extent, because chemical catalysts cannot differentiate between these RNAs. So whatever optimization we will do in that chemical reaction, it has been seen that stereoselectivity maximum can reach like 85% to 87% in through chemical routes. That means if you do this S-ibuprofen, you can reach only 85% to 87%. Rest 13 to 15% there will be R. That means what? Your desired product output is less. That means your desired product output, you cannot reach 100% is less. But if you apply enzyme or cell, the stereoselectivity is amazing. That means enzymes are highly stereoselective. That means if enzyme is S specific, it will only produce S. There will be no R. If the enzyme is S specific, that means it will add hydrogen or it will put hydroxyl only in one direction, not in other direction. And that direction will give you S isomer. So this is amazing. This is, I have done personal, this asymmetric, this is called asymmetric synthesis. This kind of synthesis is called asymmetric because the product containing asymmetric carbon or chiral carbon. So this kind of synthesis is called asymmetric synthesis or chiral synthesis. I have personally done this kind of asymmetric synthesis in some of my bioconversion reaction, and I have got 100% stereoselectivity. Either R or either S. 100%, at least more than 98 to 99%. We can call this 100% stereoselectivity. This is amazing. You cannot never reach this kind of asymmetric stereoselectivity with the help of chemical synthesis. Okay, so all these are the advantages of your microbial biocatalysis. Here are some points. Let me check if I have missed anything. No, I have told almost everything. Yeah. Okay, so first we need to understand why biotransformation, and these are the important features. Now, how biotransformation is carried out. Actually, this chapter, biotransformation, there are lots of examples. I will share you the notes where the examples are there. Examples is not concept. Concept is here. Examples are just the examples what people are actually doing in biotransformation field, or what the industries are doing in biotransformation field. But before going to examples, first you need to clarify the concept, then you go to example. There are lots and lots, like 40, 50 examples are there. Okay. So wholesale, fine. Then, okay, now how biotransformation is done. Biotransformation means either you need cell or you need enzyme. Biotransformation means either you need cell or you need enzymes. Okay. Now the cell, if alone is used, say you have E. coli, or you say you have Aspergillus niger, or say you have Saccharomyces cerevisiae, the yeast, or say you have Bacillus subtilis, or say you have Nocardia species. That means either bacterial cell or fungal cell or actinomycetes cell. Usually bacterial cell or fungal cell or actinomycetes cell, usually these are used in biotransformation. Now, if you have the free cell, then we call it as a whole cell. If you have the free cell, that means if it is not complexed with anything, then we call it whole cell. Okay. And if it is complexed with anything, the cell is complexed with anything like some polymeric support, P means polymeric support, or some sophisticated compounds like beta cyclodextrin. You have, I think you have got know what is beta cyclodextrin. I think you have in pharmaceutics you have seen it is a cage-like polymer that can encapsulate many guest molecules. As a guest molecule, you can also entrap the cell within the beta cyclodextrin. Okay, and there are several polymers through with which you can immobilize the cell, or some polymeric beads like polystyrene or polypropylene beads over which you can immobilize the cell through some covalent linking, and then you can use the cell to biocatalysis. Then it will be called as immobilized cell. Usually why people do cell immobilization? In some reaction, if you use direct cell, there the cell death will occur. The cell death will occur because cell cannot resist those kind of reaction conditions. In that case, it has been seen that if you immobilize the cell onto some polymer, the cell survival is increased to a large extent. The cell survival is increased up to a large extent. That's why people do immobilization. So you can use the immobilized cell. Then you can use the immobilized enzyme. Okay, means two types of things again you use. Either you can use the free enzyme. That means in this case we don't need the whole cell. We just express enzyme, purify this, and use this in biocatalysis or biotransformation. Then it is called the free enzyme. Okay, and similarly, if you immobilize the enzyme for its better survival or for its better stability or better kinetics onto some polymeric support or with beta cyclodextrin, then it is called immobilized enzyme. Okay, and sometimes we use cell-free extract. Cell-free extract means cytosol, the cytosol of the cell. Then that means you rupture the cell, you break the cell membrane, you rupture the cell, and you use the cytosol for biocatalysis. Okay, that is called cell-free extract. In this cytosol, within the cytosol, the enzyme is there which catalyzes the biotransformation. Okay, now the biotransformation can be achieved by any of these. The one thing you make sure, whether you use cell or immobilized cell, whatever, actual what is doing biotransformation? Enzyme. Biotransformation is only can be achieved by enzyme. Okay, either you use it in free form or either you use in cytosol here, or either you use in form of whole cell. The reaction is achieved by enzyme. Now then you can question me, if it, then enzyme is responsible, why are you using whole cell? We can always use the enzyme. Why are you using whole cell? The whole cell use has several advantages. What are the advantages? I'm coming. What are the advantages of whole cell? Say this is a cell. Say this is an enzyme. Now once you have the enzyme, this is a protein. Now protein is very delicate thing. If you don't put the enzyme or protein in a suitable buffer, it will denature. Or if your substrate is very hydrophobic, if your substrate is very hydrophobic, then your substrate can cause denaturing to the binding sites of the protein or the enzyme. Or the enzyme, when you take outside the cell, its half-life goes down, because once it comes outside the cell, it don't have the biochemical pathway inside the cell. So it requires a biochemical pathway, but you cannot give this. You can only provide the buffer, all these things. So already its life cycle will come down gradually per second. So usually in many cases, when you have the hydrophobic substrate or when you have the very delicate protein, or you cannot supply adequate or say the protein structure is so complicated that if you don't add suitable buffer, the structure conformation will change. If this is the case, then enzyme use in biocatalysis is difficult because the enzyme will die soon. And once it is dying, that means you cannot get the product. And once its half-life goes down, its activity will also go down. Its activity will also go down. That means your yield will go down. So in these cases, wholesale is a champion thing to use. Why? Because wholesale has the cell membrane surrounding this. This is cell membrane. This is cell membrane. This cell membrane, first of all, cell membrane act as a protective guard to the external hazardous chemicals or solvents or substrates to reach the enzyme. It's act as a guard. Second, inside it is a living cell. So inside cell, if there is enzyme, all the biochemical pathways are there. All the biochemical pathways are there with all the maintenance of pH and everything. So the enzyme stability will be much higher. Third, the cell membrane acts as semi-permeable membrane, that is selectively permeable membrane. That means only substrate will go through the membrane. It will come in contact with the enzyme. Then it will be convert. This is the substrate. The substrate is coming into contact with this enzyme. This is the enzyme, and here it is converted to product. The enzyme is converting the substrate to product, whatever with the product, stereoselective or whatever, regioselective product. Okay, then the product will again come out through the cell membrane. No other biological entity, because it is a selectively permeable membrane. So the product will come out the biological membrane, which is a selectively permeable membrane. So what is the advantage then? No toxic chemical is going in, and no toxic chemical, there is no formation of toxic byproduct which is produced in the cell. Okay, and the enzyme stability is much higher. Okay, so this is the beauty of using whole cell in biocatalysis. Okay, now since now we know the recombinant DNA technology and we know how the proteins are expressed, so now you can understand. Now I will go to two more concepts here. What is the more concept? Now when you use the whole cell, you can use in two ways. What are the two ways? Either you can choose the native cell. That means you can isolate the native cell from nature. You can have the native cell from nature, like Aspergillus niger or Saccharomyces cerevisiae or Bacillus subtilis, or say your Nocardia. You can have this native cell and directly use in biotransformation. Or you can do one thing, you identify the gene which is translating the enzyme, which is doing the biotransformation. You can identify the gene. Okay, now once you identify the gene, you clone the gene to other vector, to other suitable vector. You clone the gene to other suitable vector and encapsulate the whole, introduce the whole vector into E. coli cell. Because E. coli cell is a very handy, we have already studied that it acts as a host cell where you can put your clone gene and do the protein expression. So everything you put inside the E. coli cell. Okay, where you have the vector and you have the recombinant gene. Now inside E. coli cell, this gene will translate into protein. Now what is the difference? Difference is in E. coli cell, the amount of protein production will be enormously high, because in E. coli, the cell like BL21, I have told you in the previous some lectures, okay, where I have done these transformation videos, all these things. If this cell is kind of this BL21D3, this kind of strain, they are dedicatedly used for protein expression. So once you have this kind of cell, and if you use the vector like PET21B, any PET group of vectors like PET21C, PET21A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D, PET21A, PET21B, this kind of vector, there will be enormous amount of protein production, which will never found here. in this native cell. So now if we use this cell in biotransformation, you will get very high yield because the amount of protein is much more. So amount of product conversion will be much more. So you will be getting very high yield. Okay. So we always have two kinds of choices, whether to use the direct cell or you clone the gene, express the protein and use in the recombinant cell. Okay. So these are the
আচ্ছা স্যার,
strategies. হ্যাঁ বলো।
বলছি যখন ওটাকে আমরা জিনটাকে ক্লোন করে ইকোলার ভেতরে প্রোডাকশনটা করলাম, ওখান থেকে কি প্রোটিনটাকে নিয়ে পরবর্তী ক্ষেত্রে বায়ো ট্রান্সফরমেশনে কাজে লাগাবো, না আবার যে সেল ফরমেশন হবে সেটা?
যে কোনো একটা তোমার উপর। তুমি ডাইরেক্ট হোলসেলও কাজে লাগাতে পারো, কিছু যায় আসে না, কারণ হোলসেল হচ্ছে একটা সিলেক্টিভলি সেল মেমব্রেন, তুমি সাবস্ট্রেট দেবে অটোমেটিক ঢুকে যাবে, কোনো অসুবিধা নেই, ঠিক আছে। কিন্তু আবার তুমি এনজাইমটাকে আলাদা করেও কাজে
আমি ওটা
লাগাতে
বলছি না স্যার, আমি বলছি
বলো বলো।
আমি ওটা বলছি না স্যার, আমি বলছি ধরুন ওই যে হোলসেলের মধ্যে যে জিনটা আছে, ঠিক আছে,
হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ, সেই জিনটাকে আমি আইডেন্টিফাই করলাম,
হ্যাঁ
ঠিক আছে, সেই জিনটা নিয়ে আমি ওই ভেক্টরের সাথে বসে ক্লোন করিয়ে আমি ওটা ইকোলাইয়ের মধ্যে দিলাম,
হ্যাঁ
হ্যাঁ, নিয়ে ওটার প্রোডাকশন করলাম, বেশ। এবার ওই
হ্যাঁ।
প্রোডাকশনের ফলে ওখানে তো প্রোটিন সিনথেসিস হবে, তো স্যার আমি প্রোটিনটাকে আইসোলেট করে কি বায়ো ট্রান্সফরমেশন কাজে লাগাবো, না সেলটা কি ফরমেশন করবো
যে কোনো
ইকোলাইয়ের
একটা,
মধ্যে?
যে কোনো একটা। তুমি যদি এই প্রোটিনটা আইসোলেট করে কাজে লাগাও তাও লাগাতে পারো, যেটা আমি বললাম যে ফ্রি এনজাইম করে বা ইমোবিলাইজ এনজাইম করে তাও লাগাতে পারো, তুমি হোলসেল করে লাগাতে পারো।
আচ্ছা,
কেন? প্রত্যেকটা প্রোজ এন্ড কনস আছে, আমি অলরেডি আগেই বলে দিয়েছি। অনেক সময় এনজাইমকে বাঁচিয়ে রাখা যায় না, অনেক সময় এনজাইমকে বাঁচিয়ে রাখা যায় না, ক্যান নট মেক দ্য এনজাইম সার্ভাইভ, বুঝতে পারছো? তখন হোলসেল করে ইফ ইউ পুট দ্য এন্টায়ার সিস্টেম এট দ্যাট টাইম, the whole system will be much more viable, much more stable. That time you have to use the wholesale, you cannot use the enzyme. That depends on the case to case. I have personally done biotransformation. I have seen when you add enzyme, free enzyme, initial the conversion is much higher. Why initial conversion is much higher? Because the substrate is directly coming in contact with the cell membrane, in contact with the enzyme, and it is rapidly converting to product. But the product formation is coming down within like 7 hours, 8 hours, 10 hours. Okay. But once I am using the wholesale, maybe the initial conversion is not that high. Still it is high, but still it is not that high. But the product conversion I can get up to like 48 hours or 50 hours or 54 hours, something like that. Even you can get up to 3 days, 72 hours. Why? Because the enzyme is much more stable at that time when it is put inside the wholesale. Okay, so everything depends on your choice because it is varies from case to case. If you need the if you need rapid production, then of course you have to choose the whole free enzyme. But if you want to have more stable system, then it is better to go for the wholesale. Okay, and wholesale has, I have already told that some other advantages like toxic chemicals cannot permeate through the wholesale to reach the enzyme and to denature the enzyme. Okay, the cell membrane act as a protective guard, but since it is semi-permeable, the substrate can easily penetrate through. And second, the enzyme is very stable. Why? Because inside there is the biochemical pathway going on. If you free the enzyme, the biochemical pathway is dropped, there is no biochemical pathway. So you can use the wholesale for these kind of conditions. Okay. And this is the thing. And recombinant expression has some other advantage, and wholesale advantage is there are some plasmids, where you can clone two genes, gene 1 and gene 2. Why? Because these kind of plasmids have two multiple cloning sites, not one. They have two multiple cloning sites, like PET duet. This is a plasmid, PET duet 1. This is a plasmid which have two multiple cloning sites, so that you can clone two genes. So from two genes you can simultaneously translate two enzymes. So two enzymes can participate two biotransformation at the same time. Two enzymes can participate in the biotransformation at the same time. Okay. Another thing, say you have the whole cell. In the whole, there, say you are doing some reduction reaction. What reaction? Reduction. Say you are doing some reduction reaction. Say in the steroid, we do some reduction reaction like conversion of CO to CHOH. Okay. Like from progesterone to 11 hydroxyprogesterone, or estrone to estradiol. This kind of conversion requires C double bond to C single bond OH. Okay. When you are doing this kind of reduction occurs how? Reduction occurs through hydrogen. You need to add hydrogen. Now, where the hydrogen will come? Hydrogen, you have to, if you add free enzyme, then you have to add external source of hydrogen. Jodi tumi free enzyme dao, then you have to give external source of hydrogen. But if you add the whole cell, do you know what is the beauty? Inside cell, there are cofactors like NADPH, or the cofactors, this is NADPH, or cofactors like FADH. These kind of cofactors have already hydrogen in this, and their NADPH can be easily converted to NADP plus. That means what? This kind of hydrogen can be easily donated to your substrate. NADPH in any biochemical pathway is easily converted to NADP plus, or FADH is easily converted to FAD plus. That means what? These kind of hydrogen are easily donatable. They can be easily act as donors, and this hydrogen can be easily supplied on your substrate. So if you are adding some steroid where there is CO double bond or anything which is having the CO group, this hydrogen will come to this and will act as hydrogen source. If you add free enzyme, you cannot have this kind of thing. You have to add external source of hydrogen. So these reactions, you don't need external source of hydrogen. This will go on because there is intracellular pool of NADPH. Okay. Yes, after sufficient amount of time, this NADPH will deplete it, because cell do not have infinite molecules of NADPH. After some time, it will be depleted. But that time, you once add the external source of hydrogen, it will again regenerate the NADPH. If there is NADP plus, if you add external source of hydrogen like glucose or something like that, okay, so this will again regenerate your NADP plus, and again for few hours this reaction will go on. So this is the beauty. There's some beauty that you have using the whole cell, and this is the mechanism you should know when you understand a complete biotransformation reaction. And then you can choose how to choose the cell or enzyme or whatever thing for the biotransformation. Okay. So these are some things. Now with this concept, now we are talking about the enzyme or cell or the host where the biotransformation going on, the chemistry. Okay. Now with this kind of thing, there are some more concepts. What is the concept? That is the fermenter design, the reactor design, where you are doing the biotransformation. This reactor design is very important to carry out your biotransformation. How? Because every biotransformation need an optimum temperature. Why? Because enzyme activity needs an optimum temperature. So you have to set the fermenter, or you have to set the reactor at that particular temperature. This is one thing. Then the rate of aeration. Rate of aeration means volume of oxygen or volume of air supplied per minute to the fermenter. This volume of aeration is very important, because cell cannot survive without oxygen or air. That's why if you put inside any fermenter in your lab, you have seen when we culture the organism in a flask or whatever tube, we put in a BOD incubator and shake it. Why the shaking is done? To aerate the whole thing, so that the oxygen comes, oxygen flows to the cell and the cell are alive. Similar thing has to be done here. The oxygen should be supplied in the fermenter so that the cells are alive or enzymes are alive. Okay. How this oxygen will be supplied? there are different types of fermenters. I think Suman sir has already told you about the design of fermenters. The oxygen can be supplied from top, oxygen can be supplied from the bottom. If the oxygen is supplied from the bottom, the mechanism is purging. If the oxygen is supplied from the top, it is normal aeration. Okay. But somehow you have to supply the volume of oxygen required for the survival of the cell. Then reaction media. Reaction media. What is the reaction media doing the biotransformation? That means the pH of the media. Why the pH is required? First of all, the enzyme or cell will die if you don't set the required pH. If you set arbitrary pH, they will die. Number one. Number two, every enzyme activity depends on pH. Every enzyme is depending on some pH aspect. There is an optimum pH where the enzyme activity is maximum. You have to set the reaction pH to that optimum pH. Okay, usually the enzyme optimum pH varies between 7 to 8, or more precise, more broadly 6.5 to 8. Outside this range, usually there is no pH that is doing any activity for enzyme. So you have to